Okay. Good afternoon and welcome, you amazing human people. It is Dollars for Lunch. As always, I'm your host, Dane van der Mast. Guys, thank you for keeping it alive in the chat. I can see all those dollar faces right there. You guys are ready to learn some pretty powerful stuff. We're going to cover some news. We're going to be spending a ton of our time on technical analysis, showing you some keys into the insights of what we found on USD that we are pretty positive will blow you right away. We've made some sense of why the fundamentals were broken over the past couple of weeks, and just looking at pure price action, a strategy that you can deploy, not only learn from, but apply in so many other markets that you can use extremely effectively. All right, so just a quick shout out to everybody that is in our chat. I can see you guys are going mad. I can see heavily defended. Never mind just sending one, just sending multiple rows of sending that love. So again, as always, guys, appreciate you guys being here. That is what it is all about. The chat, the community, it's why we do what we do. Giving a quick shout out to Shamim Musa. I can see you in the house. Cohen Rudimeyer is in the house. Let's have a look here really quickly. We have Shamim, obviously I've mentioned him, Rishmi, Fawad, Rishchua, and Nadir, all hearts in green. Those are our MVTs, most value traders, because they are supporters of Globalix 360 Live TV. If you want to become a member, hit the link down below, hit the join button. You can go ahead and subscribe and become a member to gain a ton more value and unlock a ton more potential in your trading journey. So without further ado, guys, let's open it up and let's just quickly speak about the news. We're not going to spend too much time on the news because our Pounds for Breakfast show covered majority of what we needed to speak about and discuss. But just some article that I do really want to speak about on a local South African front is one of the first indications of how we see inflation come to pass. And also just bear in mind, today is a special edition show and we are going to be having an extended session. It's not going to be a quick 10-15 minute show. We are going to trade past the 5 p.m. mark, so just be prepared for that, because again, the strategy that I'm about to show you has a lot to do with the time frame and when we are trading to take advantage of that market. So we have a bit more time today. We're not going to rush it. We're going to keep it simple, we're going to keep it effective, but we're going to go deep and powerful all at the same time. So without further ado, let's just jump straight in. I'd like to open up some local news, and this is a key way of how you understand and see inflation in a market. So now we get a lot of question about, when we go super fast and super quickly about, CPI inflation, what does this mean? How does it affect the markets? And I found an article that makes it super simple for you to understand what is inflation and what are the problems with this, and what are the knock-on effects for an economy. It's as simple as this. Let me show you guys really quickly. You can have a look. So first things first, when we talk about inflation, right, the first thing that's going to come to people's mind is, how does this work? How does this affect me? That is the big question. And it is super easy to explain, super easy to break down. And I'm going to show you guys this in a second. Let's go. There we go. And there's an article behind me that says chicken production costs now over 2 Rand a kg above the selling price due to load shedding, right? Now, again, this is isolated for the reason of load shedding has just made a ton of the input costs extremely expensive. But this is ultimately what inflation does, right? It means that the currency is able to buy less and less, and things are running away from a pricing perspective. This is an early indicator of the ripple effects of the type of things we're seeing from the US. Now, again, this impact is directly related to load shedding, but I can tell you now, if you remove load shedding from that factor, that prices aren't increasing fast enough to cover local producers and consumers. And if you are and have a retail store, if you sell goods and products, I would love to know in the comments below if you're seeing the same impacts on your side. Are input costs going higher, and are you unable to meet the demand by raising prices? Because this is, again, a knock-on effect of what inflation does. Now, again, as I've said in the past, we are 4 to 6 months behind the rest of the world, behind the curve from the US perspective. They're still fighting inflation quite badly, but we are only going to start to see the knock-on effects of those inflationary issues come to light in the times we are currently in. So this is a very clean example, easy to understand example of how inflation affects every single one of us from a monetary perspective. Now, I don't think the South African Rand is ready for this, and we are going to still look for opportunities to take advantage of a ZAR long. And again, it's another opportunity and just benefit of being a trader is, again, you're not sitting in the passenger seat. what do? You may ask yourself, well, what do we do if inflation is coming? What do we do if things keep getting more expensive? There's a direct correlation on local currency when these things happen. So we at least have an opportunity to tackle and combat those issues. Now, from a fundamental perspective this afternoon, we do have a couple items, but most importantly, those are Canadian items. So we do have the interest rate decision on the Canadian dollar. We are going to look at that closer onto 5 o'clock, and then that 5:30 crude oil inventories, which I don't know if we will still be live for that, but we will take it into consideration. For this afternoon, the only thing that can hamper our trading is going to be that interest rate decision that we do need to pay a little bit of attention to, and we do just need to make sure that we are covered from that perspective. Now, again, moving into the part that we have most to talk about, and that is going to be the key strategy for USD. So we're not going to analyze other pairs for this afternoon. I'm going to be focusing on USD, but please keep in mind this strategy can be deployed across multiple pairs. So not only are we going to break the strategy down, we're going to trade that strategy live in this afternoon session. Now, I know it carries an extreme amount of risk. Again, provided you'd want to test this thing for months and months and months and then deploy it in a live environment. But we've been through the data. And again, markets shift and tend to change extremely quickly. By being first into the space, we might find that the strategy will last for weeks, months. It may last for 2-3 days, but that's the importance of having a community just like this, Global 360 Live TV, to share ideas, to share analysis, to share strategies, to make sure that you're on the cutting edge of the markets, no matter what the markets do, right? Because again, people struggle to maintain profitability because they get stuck in a way, and markets are ever changing. We as traders need to shift our strategies on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, to accommodate what is happening in the markets. Okay, so as long as we're all on the same page about that, I think without further ado, let's go ahead and share our screen and let's have a look at what it is we're going to be doing this afternoon. So I am currently and have behind me US30, and again, as I said, that's going to be our focal point. This can be applied in other markets, but it is most effective on the US30 Dow Jones. Now, I know for many of you, this is a favorite trading instrument, a favorite trading pair. So let's break this down really quickly in terms of where we are going to go. Now, I'm isolating the time frame to a 10-minute time frame because I just want to show you, and this really came as an exercise of trying to understand where fundamentals broke in the course of the last 2 weeks. If you guys remember, in some of our live sessions, we'll receive very clear fundamentals that the dollar, let's say, is going to be weaker, and this should cause a rally in the stock markets, rallies on indices. We got a little bit of a sideways movement, and then we get a late break in the opposite direction, right? And this happened multiple days in a row. We're starting to see things come back to a sense of normality, but we've caught what the markets is trying to do and where we see a ton of this volatility. So I want to show you guys this really quickly as we break it down. Now, you can go further and further in time, but I'm simply going to go all the way back to We'll start looking at the 17th of January, and that really encompasses, the last week of trading and what's really happened there. So let's break this down together. So traditionally, and I get this question a lot about, trading the New York Stock Exchange, and what do we deploy in order to deal with this, right? In most cases, when we look at the New York Stock Exchange, what we're looking for and how we are taking advantage, we're simply looking at micro price structure. So we're looking at the immediate smaller market structure. And remember, this is all part of scalping. This isn't day trades. These aren't swing trades. These are more just scalping out the markets, right? So we're looking for an immediate price structure that has a good amount of support and resistance, has some sound market activity that built up to that structure. And we're simply looking at the New York Stock Exchange opening and where we see that implied volume. So imagine it like this way. Right, you have a wheelbarrow and you have a hill, right? And once you start tipping that wheelbarrow out, water's going to tend to run one way or the other. And think about that like buyers or sells. When the New York Stock Exchange opens, there's orders that are waiting to be released into the main market. And so when we see that main market order entry has a bias in terms of a buy or a sell, in most cases, and if you've traded with us in 2022, we've dominated the market in this way where the bias provided there's enough strength, enough volatility, and that the market structure is sound, the bias tends to be a continuation. So example, in this particular case, in a normal case scenario, right, we would lead up to that 430 mark, and when 430 hits, the bias would break towards the downside. We would then take a downside trade, and that would be a continuation. So on the 17th of Jan, that may have been true. However, we've picked up something else, and this is potentially a game changer. We're going to look to trade this afternoon. We're going to see how successful that is. And again, we're going to assess this together and see how we can employ this going further. Ziad Musa, Ziad, just let us know if you are still having issues on your side. I'm not picking up any from mine, but just please let me know if you guys are having any issues whatsoever, and we will see how we can assist you, or how we can jump in there. Right, so traditionally we'd look at a little bit of a rising market structure. Now again, there's a 10-minute time frame. This would have had a little bit more detail there, but we would have considered the last, let's say the last hour as an example. We would have considered, this market's a little bit of a sideways movement up and until that half past mark. So in this case on US 30, we would have considered that movement, and we could have potentially drawn it out in this way. And again, I don't like analyzing in hindsight, because in hindsight, it's super easy to make sure that everyone can see everything, right? Let's just see here. Zane is asking, are we live already? Absolutely, we are live already. So if we have a look here, in a traditional sense, we would look for that 3:30 mark, and then we would start to take the initial volatility. 3:30 comes in, 4 comes in, at 4:30, we see an impulse to the downside, and we would run with that impulse to the downside. That would sometimes have a bit of retracement, and it would continue. We found that we are missing the timing here, where we have initial volatility at 4:30. However, the structure and the direction is only confirmed after 5 p.m. right? And if you guys go back and look at your drawings and you look at your charts, this will start to make sense, right? Have a look at just the 5 p.m. mark. Okay, so just have a look at what happens in a market from that 5 p.m. mark and disregard the initial impulse. Okay, so just keep this in the back of your mind. Now let's move on a little bit. Let's move over to the next day, and I want to show you what's happened subsequently over the next day. So let's have a look here. This is the next day. This is the 18th of January. New York Stock Exchange opens up right there. That's 4:30. I'm going to zoom in there. There's 4:30, and we get stuck into a bunch of sideways movements. And this is, again, one of the opportunities where we had a fundamental data release that was good for a long position. The fundamental data was good for a buy opportunity on US 30. However, we were caught out in a little bit of the sideways movement, and have a look at once we hit the 5 o'clock mark. 5 o'clock, we start to get that directional volume that starts to come in, and that dominates the afternoon for the balance of the evening into the next trading day. Let's have a look at the next afternoon here. Let's have a look here. We get into that 4:30 mark. 4:30 creates that initial impulse, and we sit sideways. Right? Nobody likes to be caught in a sideways market. The second we hit 5 o'clock, we immediately start that movement towards the downside. Now, just to give you an indication here, just from a pip count perspective, that move looks insignificant, but that move over there is 1,700 pips, right? Again, so if you look at potentially, $1 per pip, 1,700 pips, you are golden and you are flying, and you are on the way to the markets. Let's have a look at the next afternoon. The very, very same thing happened. 4:30 comes into play, and the initial move is that downside move. If you guys remember, we traded this one live as well. We caught the downside move, we were in profit, we ended the live stream, and the second it moves over to 5 o'clock, we got a massive amount of buyers entering the space 30 minutes after the New York Stock Exchange. And then we start to see an uptick towards the upside. I'm going to explain why I think this is happening and how we can obviously take further advantage of this, but we will get to that in a second. A similar thing happened the very next day, which is the 23rd of January, which I believe is Monday. We traded this one live too. We also caught the sell here. This was a nice profitable sell because we caught it nice and early. So the first 10 minutes, massive sell-off into this market. And then again, as soon as we get to the 5 o'clock mark, we got a little bit of a retracement on this pair on US 30. And the second we hit 5 o'clock, we started to build this massive momentum towards that top side. Now we sold and made about 1,100 pips, 1,200 pips. But the buy momentum on this, let's just quickly read it out here. That was in the region of about 3,000 pips, right? Just for that move in the evening, right? Another 3,000 pips to the top side. Moving on to the next day there and after, the exact same thing ended up happening, right? Again, 430 comes into play. Let's just have a look here. There we go, 430. There's 430, massive move to the downside, massive move to the upside, just a bunch of sideways movements, and then 5 o'clock these orders get released into the market, and then again we get another multi-thousand pip move towards that top side. So that has been happening for the past couple weeks, right? For the past couple days, and there's a couple reasons for this, and there's an idea that I have that markets are so volatile at this point in time, and there's so many buyers and so many sellers at the point of the New York Stock Exchange that we're starting to see a balancing act on the New York Stock Exchange, right? Meaning that banks and LPs are taking all these orders and trying to balance them in the first 30 minutes of the opening, meaning we're seeing a bunch of sideways movement. We're seeing massive candles, candle after candle, 400, 500, 600 pip ranges, 1,000 pip ranges. And then once those orders are balanced, then the floodgates are opened and the true direction is then revealed, and then we see these rallies in a directional bias. So that's what we're going to attempt to look at this afternoon. It is already 4:30, and again you'll see here we got a massive spike here to the top side, which is we're not going to be trading the spike because we're going to wait for that 5 o'clock mark. Traditionally that spike would have pushed out, and you know what would have happened? We would have looked at that spike, we would have looked at this market structure, and traditionally, right, if we're talking about being in 2022, we would have looked at that initial little spike there and would have said, okay, great, this is a buy, let's buy into it. Markets would immediately pull back, and then we're sitting in this place of just waiting, right? Now, I do believe that big banks have caught onto the strategy because it's a simple breakout strategy. There's nothing super simple about it. What is complex about it is the experience in knowing when to execute it, when there's enough volume. And in the past, we would look at this initial 1 minute candle, and we would then, decide how much volume is involved here. But you can see exactly the same movement, a bit of a sideways movement, and markets may push slightly further up, but at the same time, markets at 5 o'clock may reverse substantially towards that downside. So what we want to wait out for here is if we truly get a breakout, no problem, right? We may chase a little bit of that breakout and take some profit. There's no problem in still chasing that slight move. However, the big money on US 30 is 30 minutes after the New York Stock Exchange open. That's what past data is showing us, but also bear in mind, past data in a very limited format, meaning we're only looking at the past 2 weeks. It's a very, very recent trend that we want to analyze. We want to see, is there any logic in looking at that? Right, so as an example here, we may end up, I'd like to consider taking this long to see if we do get a continuation of a breakout there, and we want to just go, I would like to just go ahead in here and create a small little buy in there. Again, this is not part of the strategy. I'm just grabbing a trade here that essentially shows you. Let's have a look here. I just want to grab a quick position there. And what we're simply going to do is we are going to wait for that 5 o'clock bell. And if that 5 o'clock bell starts a reversal, right? Because the biggest trade that is available to us here is a reversal towards the downside. So prior to the show, I was actually speaking with a couple of the members in our team here, and I said the greatest thing that could happen today would be that if we get a fake out towards the top side, so we get a bounce off this level, and then ultimately a breakthrough of this diagonal. This is currently reading on 1 hour, and if USDT fails this level, we are then very likely to make a monster move towards that downside, right? A move that could essentially be, 4 to 5,000 pips very, very easily in a short period of time. So I'm very interested to see, will markets create a initial bull move here, trick a bunch of traders into going long, and then start that reversal process after the 5 p.m. mark. And this is something we're going to essentially trade live together. We are live, we're trading it live, and we want to see what ends up happening here from a trade perspective. So what I'm going to go ahead and do as a precaution, and in line with that already, is I'm looking at setting up some penny orders below this market structure, so that if this initial bull and sideways market does not materialize, if we get that 5 p.m. reversal, I'd like to catch that reversal on a breakout towards that downside. That is the ideal way in which we would like to catch this trade for that space. And for this, I'm just going to utilize MT4 really quickly, just to end up placing and essentially pocketing that trade. I'm going to quickly just switch over really quickly. There we go. And I know I'm switching over to a super bright screen, but I'm just going to be setting up this just so I can see nice and clearly there. Just want to go over onto a 5 minutes. There we go. There we go. I just want to have those parameters nicely met. And all I'm looking at there is for a penny order below that level right there, right? So again, in line with the strategy that if we get that reversal, I would like to grab some orders down below in that level. And what I'm doing here is I'm doing a sell stop. So I'm doing a pending order. For most of you who are trading in MetaTrader, this is going to be your simplest way to do it. New order, pending order at price. And the price that I'm setting up there for that sell stop is I'm looking at a 33,339. Let's see here, 33,398. Stop loss I'll put back into structure, but stop loss ideally we want to be back into market structure. I'm going to do a 33,500. And a take profit ideally, again, if this fails this level, we have quite a bit of distance we can cover towards that downside. So even on hourly, you can clearly see that if we fail that level, we have quite a bit of distance that we can still cover towards the downside. So I would say from a take profit perspective, let's just do one more zoom out here. I mean, we could very well make a new low, but I think realistically a 33 flat is going to be where we're going to be, 33,000. Okay, so now that I've set that up there really quickly, again, penny order just down below, and then if we get that one activated, sell stop, beautiful stuff. So we got those orders just south of our current position, and that's what I'm keen to look at. Do we get that major reversal? Do we get price coming in hard at the 5 o'clock mark? And will we see that movement towards the downside? Or if price moves sideways for a good amount of time, provided we come back to our entry point or come back to the start of the volatility, the breakout can still be topside, but we still want to just look at where price action is broken only at the 5 p.m. mark, and that is going to be the key difference. As I'm saying, wants to put a take profit or trailing stop. Yeah, to get that sort of distance, I would honestly think if you're utilizing MetaTrader, your numbers will be different. If you're utilizing MetaTrader, I would say you need to utilize to be within the ebbs and flows of this market. You would need to be at about a 10,000 points trailing, otherwise 1,000 pip trailing. So on the sell side move there, I'm going to set up a trailing stop, I would say, of 10,000. And that's going to be representative of 1,000 pips from the downside perspective. And that will essentially drag it today. As I'm saying, using Meta today was thinking around about 12,000 points. Absolutely. Safer the better. So now we're pushing out into that buy territory. I'm going to go ahead and essentially close out that buy there. and take my profit on that trade. Right, and I'm just doing this because I believe that markets are poking out. I just put in a feeler trade there. Just wanted to make sure that I'm in a good space. Just assuming markets are going to essentially pop out to the top side, give us a little bit of a fake movement, and then obviously decide that next direction. Ntika is saying, are we buying or selling, colleagues? I am late. Ntika, we are discussing a new strategy whereby we're starting to see a ton of that movement only coming in at 5 o'clock. Again, if you guys remember, over the past 2 weeks, we've seen the fundamentals being a bit broken. We've seen the price action has been a little bit delayed, right? And again, we've looked back into the data, and over the last 2 weeks, we're starting to see majority of the directional volume is coming into this market only at 5 p.m. Remember, traditionally, early in last year, daylight savings time meant that New York Stock Exchange opened up at 3:30. So in the course of 2022, we were looking at markets from 3:15, lots of volume at 3:30. Directional volume was good for us. And then we sort of take that direction, make a good amount of money. Nice quick trade for the afternoon, in, out, good story. Towards the latter end of 2022, daylight savings time shifts for the US. They move their clocks 1 hour forward. New York Stock Exchange opens up at 4:30. And traditionally speaking, we were opening up in the markets 4:15, benefiting from a directional volume. And then essentially in 20-30 minutes, get into the market, a couple thousand pips, get out. However, the start of this year, we're starting to see a little bit of an imbalance there, and I explained the reason for that. And you're welcome to rewatch this at a later stage to understand that bit better. But essentially what we're doing is we're looking out for where that volume may be at that 5 p.m. mark. Again, all we're going to do now is we're just going to make sure that we've mapped out what this channel is up to and where this channel is potentially going. And then we obviously want to take advantage of any break in this channel. So volume looks to be happy. Volume still looks to be struggling a little bit towards that top side, but certainly happy to continue a little bit of those movements. I'm just well aware in the past we've made these extensions out into a zone and then an immediate rejection and fail towards the downside as close as we get towards that 5 o'clock mark. That's all I'm looking for. Brand new strategy, looking at how it's deployed. Again, the first 3 weeks of any year, markets are a little bit dizzy. Markets a little bit sideways, digesting all the December spending, digesting all of the big investment portfolios, closing out their losing positions, reopening winning positions. So that's normal. We expect that. However, when we see something that trends consistently, it's important that we jump on that and have a look at, will it be profitable? Can we further develop this? Can we build this into a strategy? And are we able to trade this in a live environment? That's what the big goal is here. Ben saying stress less. Thank you. Noted. Ben saying buy, just straight buy. Yeah. Okay, so traditionally, normally speaking, we would just buy as I bought earlier. But again, looking at where that volume comes in, we want to wait for that 5 o'clock mark, and that is coming up in the next 15 minutes. And we want to just have a look at where the other markets are currently sitting. So on a 4-hour time frame, NASDAQ currently sitting flat. And again, this is going to be mostly due to the fact that those Microsoft shares or the Microsoft earnings reports came out fairly positive, but in the forward guidance, Microsoft explained that they are seeing a decrease in revenue towards the end, in the course of this year, towards the end of this year. So in the actual earnings reports, investors saw that Microsoft shares spiked in after hours trading. However, in the guidance call, they gave a forecast that earnings will be down next year and in the course of this year. That spooked off investors, and all the gains that they made, there was about a 6% rally on Microsoft stock that was all given back into the markets within a couple hours or so. So NASDAQ is obviously absorbing that information. Microsoft is one of the highest evaluated companies, and again, it has definitely a knock-on effect over there. So we're definitely seeing that little bit of a sideways momentum, a little bit of a sideways pause on the NASDAQ. So again, I'm not looking to trade any of these breakouts. 330, even if we see a spike, I'm not worried. I don't care about it. I'm merely looking at, can I benefit at 5 o'clock? Can I grab a directional move that I can hold all the way into this evening, right? Can I get the true direction of US30 that I can hold and just sit back and relax and enjoy? So let's give it a quick look. So Ben Domini says, bye my boy. What time was that? Let's just double check what time Ben said that. It was somewhere around about, price was somewhere around about here. Just putting that line there. Let's just give it a look, quick check. Okay, so we have about 13 minutes and a bit until we get to that 5 o'clock mark. Guys, you're welcome to pop any questions into the chat. If I am able to answer, I will. But just looking at that dollar this afternoon, dollar is looking weak, right? Having a look, do we see the same effects on the dollar? That's a good question. I got a private message on Telegram. Someone's asked, do we have the same effect on the dollar index? That's a really good question. It's something I haven't looked at as yet, but we can give it a little bit of a look here. This is looking at the 5-minute time frame, and we're just going to look at each day, and do we start to see that volume, and when it comes in, and where do we get that reversal? And we do, right? So again, here's 4:30, and we see a massive reversal right there. 5 o'clock, we're seeing that volume come in, and it definitely has an effect, a knock-on effect for the dollar. Same thing here, New York Stock Exchange, markets open flat, a little bit of a directional bias here. 5 o'clock, we see a rejection off of that mark. Yeah, so that's a bit hectic. Ben's asking, is US30 and US 100 the same? No. So US30 represents the Dow Jones, right, which is the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and that comprises of different US companies listed. When we talk about the NASDAQ, that represents the top most valuable tech and purely tech companies alone. The US 30 will have other companies, where the NASDAQ, the US 100 will have primarily tech companies. The same tech companies may appear in US 30, but not all the same companies in US 30 will also appear in the NASDAQ. So again, the three biggest exchanges or indices that we have, we've got the US 100, which is tech. We've got US 30, which is the most valuable US companies listed, publicly traded companies, as the US 30. And then we have the S&P 500, which generally is the safer, that is an amalgamation of different industries. And that's what people say is the safer trending instruments, and that's also called the S&P 500. Some places just say SP 500, so it's just something to take note of. I want you guys to see this really quickly, right? Looking on a minute time frame, look at how the dollar is collapsing. All right, dollar is collapsing. USDT should be spiking topside, but it's not. I want us to I just want us to keep this in the back of our minds. I'll show you guys again. Dollar is collapsing on a 1-minute time frame, on a 5-minute time frame, sorry, and the US 30 is holding strong, right? Meaning it's not popping towards the top side. It's actually losing a little bit of steam here. NASDAQ still not pushing towards the top side, holding steady. Now, again, this is the place that most traders would buy, right? The second they see this trend line is crossed as a broken level, everybody would shout, send out a signal, buy, buy, buy. But again, and that's why I think the strategy is going to be super powerful, because we know where the volume's coming in and we know where to wait. So what I'm going to do as a contrarian, I'm going to go ahead and just pop in. I'm just honestly just going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and pop in one sell there. Right here where we are, because again, I'd like to see this play out. Again, I can be wrong. I'm seeing a little bit of a trend, a structural break there, just from that level. And I would like to see, do we get a rejection here? Do we get some sell side momentum? I'm very, very curious on that. I'm essentially going to put here, let's see how many pips. I'm essentially going to put about 500 pips on the line here towards the top side move. Someone asked, how much can we potentially bank for this move? Well, it's substantial. If we get a break towards the downside, so if this perfect storm plays out and we do get that 5 o'clock volume towards the downside, it is substantial. We can actually measure it out. I just want to quickly check something before I get there. Sorry, I was just quickly checking something out really quickly. Okay, so if we have a look at the potential move here, I got distracted there for a second. If we break this structure, okay, we break this movement here towards the top side, we have a potential to break this diagonal. If you're a little bit late to the show, we spoke about these 3 points as being the most important, and a lot of traders are going to try and look optimistically for a long here. And again, if the New York Stock Exchange opens with a good amount of volume to a long, a ton of people are going to grab and go for a long, and there will be a liquidity grab at that point. So if we break this market structure, let's just see here, 33. Yeah, so at towards the bottom side of the structure where I think we can go, we have about 4,000 pips towards the downside. Okay, so 4,000 pips towards the downside, not bad at all. Currently already in profit, not a lot of profit, but that sell is already in profit. Just looking at that breakdown towards the downside, I'm not going to celebrate yet. Again, I'm waiting for that 5 p.m. volatility. It can go still either way here. A brand new strategy. We want to test it out. We want to see how it works. We want to see, does it work? That is the big question. Now, again, there's a lot of risk in bringing a brand new strategy into a live environment, and I do want to just encourage you guys, please just to proceed with caution, right? It is extremely important we proceed with caution with any new strategy, but the job of Globex 360 Live TV, and the reason we've built this, is that we are looking to share information live, right? Not delayed, not give an old strategy. As we find something, we can test it, we can develop it, we can say this is great, this is rubbish, whatever the case may be, in a live environment, so that we have the quickest sharing of information to you guys. And again, these are personal strategies that we are developing alongside with the team, and it's just how we do things. Gwen's asking, can we place some buy and sell limits? Absolutely. Gwen, I have placed my sell limits down here in the region of the 33,400 mark. So 33,400, if we get that 5 o'clock volatility past 33,400, I'm starting to sell off. If we get the movements to the top side, I want to enter that manually because I want to just see how much volume there's going to come in on the top side, purely because we already have a bit of a bull impulse that has come in from the New York Stock Exchange. So the best case scenario for me is a massive sell momentum, but if we get a bull momentum, I'd enter that one manually. I don't know if that answers your question there. Just put a thumbs up if you guys are following, if it's making sense, if we're on the same page. Are you here? Are you left behind? Are you in the passenger seat, or did we leave you somewhere on the road? Just give us a thumbs up. Let us know you're all still alive. You're okay. You're not panicking. You're not dying. Let us know. Just pop us a thumbs up. Guys, as always, if we've earned it, I just want to encourage you, go ahead and smash that like button. If you aren't already, go ahead and subscribe. That is what it is all about. Absolutely. In Sika, I just explained, again, we're not doing a sell limit. We're doing stop orders. So again, I'm doing a sell stop at 33,400, and that's the only one that I'm placing. Right, a sell stop at 33,400, meaning once it hits that level, I would like to then continue that sell towards the downside. As I'm saying, I'm stuck in a donut. I'm here, can't go anywhere. Hope you get well super soon, Aslam. I know you've been in for a little bit of an op, a little bit of R&R on the surgery side, and we hope you are kicking it. And we hope you're going to be up and running super soon. But listen, grateful for you to be here. I know you're on meds and doing the whole thing, but we appreciate you as always. Marsha Bart, you amazing human being. Okay, so our original theory is so far proving correct. I don't want to bring out Trump just yet, because again, we want to cross that 5 p.m. mark. I'm going to do a quick intermission, and that is only to just quickly change camera batteries. So what we're going to do is give me, let's say, less than 2 minutes. Give me, let's see if I can get this done in 50 seconds. Let's do a quick 50-second intermission. I want to change camera batteries, make sure we're fresh, so that if we get the volume at 5, we have no interruptions. I'll see you guys in 50 seconds. Let's see if we can get it done. Okay, we did it. That was the quickest battery change ever, and we managed to pull it off without breaking anything. As I'm trying putting in some wire mates together. Hey, Rufus Ruchua is a bad influence, guys. Just watch out for this one. Yeah. Okay, good stuff, guys. There we go. We're starting to see that little bit of a dollar move there. Have a look at that. That 5 o'clock momentum is kicking in. I would start to look for sells at this moment in time. I'd like to see the 5 o'clock hit the pass mark. I'd like to see us break this resistance level before we start to bring in Trump. But again, this is why I say, guys, please be careful. As always, again, we saw someone in the comments saying, hey, just buy now. Remember? I don't know who it was. So I said, hey, just buy now. If you bought now, that's exactly what the markets would have wanted you to have done. We placed a sell a little bit earlier there. Your pending orders should be set up in this location. And let's see if we can get a nice punch into the market. And Ntumi is saying, in a nice sell, took about a good day of trading for the Globex 360 way. Beautiful. Us, I'm saying in a sell all the way from the top. So let's see, can we ride this new strategy all the way to the downside? I'll bring out Trump if we can hit the 33,400 mark. If we touch 33,400, you know I'm bringing out Trump, because then we are good to go. 33,400, our sell stop should kick in. We are into the 5 o'clock territory, but we aren't safe yet. I'd like to see a good amount of volume come in, and I'd like to see a massive push there, right? Omar's already saying he's got his sells in. As I'm saying, being layering in his sells. Again, the only word of caution I have here is that we need to make sure that that direction is confirmed, right? Yes, we may be in however many 500-600 pips of profit. Great stuff. All day, good stuff. I would say if you are in from the top here, move your stop loss. I'm going to go ahead and move my stop loss from this location all the way back to my entry point, which is around about there. And I'm just literally going to lock my stop loss in right there, right? Just in case that reversal happens, I want to be in a investor's seat. I'm not looking to be in a hero seat at this point in time, right? So I just want to make sure 5 o'clock kicks in. We still have volume. We could get a little bit of retracement, and then we can continue to see that continuation to the downside. Now, just continuing the theme in terms of past analysis, and guys, that's the beauty about the charts. You have access to so much data at your disposal. Let's give it a look here in terms of the last session. Let's have a look here. 5 o'clock kicked in and we started to see the downside move. The true move was at 5. So I think we just need to be cautious of the fact that 5 o'clock move is only confirmed at 5 o'clock, meaning 5, 5:15, 5:20 is when we start to really get those confirmations that 5 o'clock is definitely at play. Let's have a look here really quickly. Yeah, so from 5:05, 5:10, that is where we're going to see those ideal confirmations. I would say if 5:15 we have a direction, then I'm safe to say that we are safe. So let's do that. The great thing about our brand new web trader, guys, is just have a look here, just behind and just over my left shoulder. This is technically my left shoulder. That's my left shoulder. That's my right shoulder. Sorry, I got backwards there. Is you have this view slider here. So if you isolate and just open up the slider, you can look for on the chart here. I don't know how well you guys can see if you're watching in 1080p, but you can see big moves in the markets, right? So you can see in this area, there was something that happened. You can bring your viewer into that area and go, okay, what happened in that area? You can expand it to increase the chart or decrease it to zoom in. So again, our new web trader is just, it's just unlike anything else, man. I'm so happy. Still tweaking, still developing. We have some crazy things in store in terms of new views, meaning you can physically open up and go and have a look and set up your own views, right? Example, here's currency strength. It'll show you what's pumping, what's not. There's just so much amazing stuff you can do with this technology. I'm super excited. And again, we will do some training on this. We will tell you when we're rolling it out officially, and we will do some formal training on that if you are serious about getting in. Okay, so I'm a little bit hesitant about this. All right, if we're in a sell, great stuff, good stuff. But again, I'm just looking at where that 5 o'clock momentum is, and I'm happy to hold out until whatever time that may be. If it's 5:15, 5:30, 6 p.m., whatever, I don't care. I'm looking to catch that direction. It's Wednesday. We want to make some good money. We want to bank at least a couple thousand pips for this session. So I'm going to hold it out, whatever it takes. Whether we're here to 5:15, we're here to 5:30, it is what it is. Guys, also please remember, it's maybe a good time to speak about, if you are a Globex 360 live account holder with more than $100 in your live account, we have the Tesla earnings call tonight. It's a trade-a-thon, meaning we're going to analyze Tesla stock. We're going to look at that against a basket of other items. We have Microsoft that just came out last night as a great example of the cause and effect from an earnings report. And then we're going to sit in the after hours, the earnings call with Elon and his team to understand what is happening out in the world, what can we expect, what's happening in the world from a financial perspective, so on and so forth. We almost hit that 33,400 flat mark. I was waiting to bring out Trump. We need to hit that yellow line there, and we just missed it. But I want to bring out Trump, guys. I'm not going to rest until we see Trump doing his thing. And I think we should make a new rule. I think we should say, Trump comes out for anything over 500 pips. I don't know what you guys think about that, but let's say anything over 500 pips is where Trump jumps out. So if you've got 3 trades at 500 pips, that still can be 1,000, but at least, come on, let's go. Let's get go. It's just egging on that level. It's just egging on that 33399 level. We just want to hit that 333,400. I think it had hit it already. I might not be looking at it correctly. But we're just looking for it to hit that 33,333,99 level. Okay, but in any event, so that's our new deal. We won't spam Trump. We won't bring him out until we get that data through. So Omar, we have the Tesla trade-a-thon that's happening at 11:30 this evening. The reason why it's so late is the earnings call itself is only at 12:30, meaning at almost 1 o'clock in the morning. And again, it's very informative. You get to understand what's happening in the world from a Tesla perspective. And there's forward guidance that's so insightful. It tells you about the status of the economy, the status of the labor market, their forward guidance on this year's economic conditions. And if you understand how a publicly traded company runs, it's basically like a small economy, right? So again, whatever happens there, people tend to look at and see those ripple effects within currency and country themselves. So massively important, hugely insightful. It is a ton of things. Aware Telcourse is saying NASDAQ question mark. I don't know if you're asking what about NASDAQ. You're more than happy. You can just pop it in and just ask the question. But let's just have a look here if what's NASDAQ's happening. So again, there, beautiful rejection of NASDAQ, initial impulse downside, huge retracement sideways, and then that downside movement. So NASDAQ is definitely supporting a further downside move. The big question is, what sort of volume do we get out in the next 10 minutes from US 30? I want to break that 33,400 mark, and then I know we're on a solid path here. But again, just a great way of seeing how looking at past data can help you immediately in current data. Obviously, you would like to gather as much information as you can. You'd love to have weeks and months worth of data to go, this is solid all around the board. But that's the part of jumping on the markets. Let's just have a look here. Gwen saying that the dollar index is falling. You 100% right, brother. Dollar index has pretty much been smashed since 4 o'clock. And again, when the dollar index falls, this is a little bit of the crazy part here. When the dollar index falls, we tend to see indices rally. We tend to see that indices have a massive party on dollar weakness. We're not seeing that today. Right, we're seeing that massive move towards the downside, and we're seeing indices hang around in this area. So one of two things is going to happen at 5 o'clock. Either, right, indices are going to shoot through the sky, and 5 o'clock is actually a bull move. That's one outcome. Or we're going to see the dollar index reverse, and we're going to see indices continue towards the floor. But the dollar index is absolutely crashing. Right, so that makes me a little bit suspicious that we could be in for a bull rally. The one thing I haven't investigated, and I would highly encourage someone to just have a look at this. This is just a sneak peek into what are the type of things we look for, is having a look at, what sort of happens. I'm just looking at the way this volume comes in. Okay, so if this volume comes in here, we might look at, that's not the right stop loss. There we go. So the one thing someone can look at is that correlation of if the dollar index moves first and then we get the 5 o'clock volume, which one was correct. So in today's example, we're seeing that the 5 o'clock volume may be topside. If 5 o'clock we breach that previous high, then I'll chase a buy. Then I'm very happy to chase a buy. But at this moment in time, your orders shouldn't be activated if you blow that 33,400 because markets didn't quite get there. But let's just give this a quick look here. Oh, this is super important. I dragged the wrong stop loss. Just have a look at this. I'm wondering why my stop loss wasn't honored, right? The order that I have the stop loss for 1299 is actually one of these sell stops. This one's stop loss, or TP at least, was a different type of stop loss. So I'm going to go ahead and put my stop loss for my sell. I'm just going to zoom in there really quickly for you guys. So I sometimes switch to a white chart, or MetaTrader at least, if my eyes are quite fatigued, because it's just easier to watch and easier to look at. So I'm just placing that there, and I'm placing... Okay, so what I'm doing now, and you guys are welcome again to proceed with caution, but you're welcome to follow this, is I'm looking for a buy stop above this zone. Right, so I'm looking for a buy stop above that 33,535 mark, and I think safely 33,545. 33,545, and we might have to do about a 500-600 pip stop loss here. So 33,484. And make sure it's a buy stop, eh? $33,692. Okay, so I'm doing a buy stop just above that spike over there with my stop loss for my sell in that location. So if the impulse and if the volume is going to happen to the top side, I want to catch that. But if the sell continues down again, we've just got one sell in the zone, sell stops here, buy stops there. So that's essentially how we're treating it, and that's how we're going to deal with a new strategy, just to be safe. Again, we want to be safe, not sorry, and that's what it's going to be about. So looking back onto this chart, and I know it's a little bit chaotic. I will tidy this one up a little bit because there's a lot happening on this chart. The orders are quite neat on this layout. I know there's a whole bunch of colors here. Orange basically means pending order. The red means obviously a sell. Let's have a look here. What is this guy doing here? Oh, that's a TP. Green is TP, obviously. Okay, let's see. Let's see if we get the Clarence Wise saying German 30 is resisting the sell. Let's give that a quick look. I'm still stuck on Microsoft here, but let's quickly switch over to German 30. Which is important to note. It's a little bit of a structure there before we get into that. Okay, very interesting. So German 30 at 4:30 had a little bit of a downside push. 5 o'clock that mark, we had that downside push. All right, so German 30 is popping towards the top side already. Let's just have a look here if NAS is doing anything similar. NAS is a little bit of a trouble child. Again, that's just because Microsoft is going to weigh on NAS substantially. So I don't think we can trust NAS as just flowing freely. I think Microsoft's issues are going to weigh quite heavily on NASDAQ. German 30 is popping through the top side, making an attempt to try and get there. Again, the 5 o'clock strategy doesn't necessarily apply to German 30. Only at this moment in time applies to the US 30. So let's quickly see what we get. I would still love to see an outcome where we get a bunch of volume to the downside, smash those support levels, and we see a massive bear market rally or bear market move here. That would be ideal, but we're going to wait around and see. just missed. Well, it's a good thing it missed our pending orders there. Ideally, we didn't want to get activated and then just hold out in a sideways market. So that is ideal. That is beneficial. Let's see what else is responding. Let's have a look at gold really quickly. Ooh, okay. Okay, so remember what we were speaking about on gold in terms of potentially coming back and sort of retesting that level. Gold certainly did a retest. Taking advantage of that dollar weakness. This is maybe something else that is worthwhile from a trade perspective. I definitely think we want to be paying attention to is having a look at where we could potentially see an opportunity. Let's have a look here if we can get that. Let's just actually take this rectangle here. And I certainly think that's going to be the price to beat right there. Gold made the attempt on the dollar weakness, but it's certainly pulled back off there. I want to see what the dollar index is doing. Okay, there we go. So now if we start to see this dollar index come back extremely angry, right, this could fuel that continuation of the downside on US 30. Yeah, so US 30 coming off of that bull rally. Again, I just would like to see some good volume in by the 5:15 mark. There's about 3 minutes left and before we get to the 5:15 mark. I would like to get some volume in there to give it a definitive call here. Again, our job is not to predict the markets. It's only to be prepared and ready. Showing up is 90% of the work. Once we have a direction, it's to take that direction. It would be nice if it's at 5 o'clock. But if it's 5, 5:15, 5:30, doesn't matter. We're here and ready, and that's what it's all about. Again, the best way you can prepare for this, if you would like to obviously take advantage of these moves, would be let the 4:30 impulse happen, and then we have breakouts towards the top or the bottom side. Obed, you need to listen, family. People just want a signal. They just want to hear buy now, sell now. Forex trading is not that easy, and that's why people lose so much money when they buy signals that just say sell now, and they hold this massive negative for a period of time. There's some technicalities, there's some price action. We need to break and clear certain levels, and we will then look for that movement. Okay, so what we're going to go ahead and do is we're just going to leave this playing in the background. We're going to let it run for about 5 or so minutes, and then by about 20 past 5, we are going to check it out. So I'm going to leave you guys alone with some good music. We're going to watch these charts play out. We're going to see what the result is, and by 20 past 5, we will make a determination of what's going to happen there. I'd love to see a bear breakout towards the downside, a good amounts of bear energy. I would love to see that. If the dollar index makes any substantial gains, that could fuel that US 30 sell side move. So for the time being, I'm going to leave you guys with some good music. We're essentially going to written. So it is free. It's available to those who have Premium Plus, right? So remember, Dollars for Lunch was cancelled. So everybody that qualified for Dollars for Lunch, which is $100 accounts or more, they have access to the Tesla Trade-a-thon this evening. So you just need to have a minimum of $100 in your live account, and then you have access to that Tesla Trade-a-thon this evening at 11:30. It's going to be big. It's going to be massive. That's what it's all about. And Tika, your network is bewitching you, my dear family. No orders as yet. We're just waiting for that breakout towards the downside. So I'm going to leave you guys. We're going to watch the charts. Let's see if we get that 33,400 break, and if we do, we can celebrate and have some fun in the sun here. I'm feeling it. I'd love to see it. If we get it, I'll be super happy. But again, that's just part of the strategy. It's just part of trading. So I'll leave you guys with some amazing music. I'm going to see you in a couple minutes. I'll be back. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing in the background, just as we wait to see where the directional goes, I thought I'd do this on my own, but I think it'd be valuable just to do it with every single one of you if there's some lessons to be learned here. So we're diving in on a 1 minute, and we're just simply diving a little bit deeper into the breakdown of where that all goes. I'm just going to put in an alert here. Should we break some new lows, I don't get distracted there. But we're just basically looking to look a bit deeper at those New York Stock Exchange opens, and where do we see the most volume, and where's that definitive timeline that we can say, you know, that's the cutoff period of what we could expect to see. So from this perspective, right, again, the New York Stock Exchange open, right, again, like we saw this afternoon, opposite of this afternoon, open up towards the downside, a bunch of sideways movement into the 5 o'clock mark. Okay, then at 5:20, 5:30 specifically, 5:35, we then get that confirmation of a directional bias. We're going to continue on and just scroll over into the next New York Stock Exchange just to see where we get that confirmation of volume. So this one, specifically on the 23rd, there we really got confirmation at quarter past. So there the quarter past happened, and we saw volume trickle in towards that outside. So that was a straightforward one. That one, we didn't have too much of a delay, too much of a wait. Let's have a look here. Again, another sell side momentum. New York Stock Exchange opened, break to the downside. 5 o'clock comes in, and then we really get that confirmation, that breakout only, I would say, at about half past, closer to the half past mark. Half past, so I get that breakout and that movement towards the top side. So again, it doesn't necessarily mean it needs to happen at 5 o'clock, but the 5 o'clock move. So we refer to everything that encompasses that 5 o'clock move. That is then what we tend to look at. So yeah, again, 4:30, we get a top side break on the New York Stock Exchange open. Markets range, and this is where, you know, traders get quite frustrated. 5 o'clock comes in, and from 5:20, 5:30, we start to get that directional move that is then pushed down for a total, even from breakout there, of about 1,700 or so. I heard a notification in the back end, and that means we could be pushing those new lows. I'll give that a check in a second, but I just want to continue just to dive a little bit further. Just the more data, the better, right? That's what it's all about. Let's give it a look here. Okay. Some big spikes there, big chaos. 4 o'clock mark, volume comes in, 5 hits, and then we get that volume really dropping in from 5:30. So I'd say the latest time is definitely going to be 5:30, where we can expect to be, you know, essentially holding on for that last bit of volume. I would love to see a nice volume move here towards the downside. It would confirm for us that we're onto something solid, and it'd just be great to see. Again, a lot of traders would have only started buying out US30 in this region. So imagine you bought out US30 there, you'd been over 1,000 pips worth of a negative, and that would obviously be quite painful. So let's see, do we get the volume? It certainly looks like we're starting to get that. I'm going to zoom in there a little bit more for you guys. There we go. So again, our target and key zone there is going to be at 33,400 flat. Just so going back there, our target and key zone here is going to be, can we hit that 33,400 flat mark? That's what I'm looking for. I'll be super happy if we can hit that. And then we've got something. Then I think we have a cheat code, my friends. Then I think we have a cheat code. And even if it doesn't fully materialize today, I know we're onto something big. We can continue to use this in a big way in the coming days, coming weeks, coming months, just to again add to the amounts of information we have. And again, past data is your friend, guys. It's all available to you. Trading really comes down to putting the time, putting the effort, looking for past structures, past breakouts, past data, and just applying that and seeing how you can take advantage of the markets in that manner, in that fashion. So let's see, we have about 7 minutes till we get to that 5:30 mark. I would love to break this before the 5:30 mark. Let's see. Let's see, guys, can we spam up the comments? Can we get some love in here? Can we get some energy in these comments? Again, your energy and your love is what keeps us going. Again, after a long day, again, I've been here for probably since, it's been a good 12 hours now in the markets and behind the desk with you guys. So we can spam the comments. Us, I'm spamming with a W. Hopefully that's a W for win. So let's spam the comments. Let's share the love. Let's keep the energy going. That's what it's all about. If you haven't already smashed the like button, guys, go ahead and do that. If you haven't subscribed, go and do that. And beautiful stuff. Gawain, 100%, and that's why we've identified this new strategy to try and get rid of some of that volatility and holding those sideways movements. Beautiful stuff. How do I get access to the trading platform? Riaz, it is in the back office. So if you have a Globex 360 live account in your client area, you'll see there is our web trader right there. You can download it. You can download the plugin to have it as a little bit of a standalone app outside of the website, but you can trade directly within the website. That's what it's all about. Beautiful stuff. Saying new to Globex and loving it. That's what it's all about. And again, guys, our job is not to be perfect, right? We can make bad trades, we can make wrong decisions, but this is what real trading is about. Trading is about taking chances, sort of exploring these territories, going big, and essentially learning and growing. And that's what the vision is with live TV, is to make sure that we can share these things, right? Most of the things that traders share online is on Instagram. They share profits and buying cars and Gucci. That's not trading. Trading is learning, putting time in the markets, failing, picking up your fails, learning how to manage risk, making sure that you win big, and you lose small. There's so much more to trading than just Instagram, and that's the vision, that's the hope, that's the goal, and that's why Globex was founded, was to honestly be a partner for traders all around the world, give them the best possible trading advice, best possible trading environment, and that is just part of one of the things we're aiming to achieve. So if you guys are enjoying it, share the love, let us know. We appreciate you as always. Much love around all around. Okay, let's see, this thing just doesn't, I don't know, either the big banks don't want to see us Alvin Forsey saying the Gucci with the J. Hey man, it's so bad. I see some of those guys going to these Chinese malls. You'll see their cars outside a Chinese mall, and you're like, what's going on? You know, what are they doing at the Chinese mall? And you see them in there buying the Gucci's with the J on. And then you see it on Instagram a little bit later. Okay, beautiful stuff. So we almost smashed out the 33,400 flat mark, but we just missed it. Yeah, down channel on 5-minute time frame. I got you, Gawain. Just teasing us now. Absolutely, Naeem. Where's my Trump? We just need to hit that 33,400, and we will bring out Trump and do his thing. I said we'll only do it on 33,400. I know I'm itching just as much as you guys are. I want to see that Trump. I would like to see the strategy prevail and know that we have something we can further develop. And regardless, we will still further develop it. If you are in that sell right there, then congratulations. You're running in about 800 pips of profit right now. I know we said we'll push Trump every time we go over 400 pips, but absolutely. Heavily defended, that's the goal. We want to activate those sell stops. If we're able to activate those sell stops, we pack it up, put in some trailing stops. Please remember, if your sell stops activate, please go and add a trailing stop. Again, Aslam's got a trailing stop of about 12,000 points, which is 1,200 pips. There we go. We got Trump that came into play there. Guys, let's share the love. Let's share the energy. Let's spam the comments. Let's do our thing. We hit that 33,400 mark, and I'm hoping to see markets crash down towards the downside. And there we go. Markets are crashing. Your orders should be activated. We are now running in well over 1,000 pips, 1,100 pips in profits right there. That's what it's all about. Share the love, guys. Are you enjoying this? Are you not enjoying it? Should I end the live stream? Should I carry on the live stream? It's up to you. It's in the comments. What do you guys want to do? It's up to you guys in the comments. What do you guys want to do? Yeah, you can go ahead and cancel your buy stops. It's just safer. So once your pending orders are done, you can go ahead and cancel your buy stops. That's what it's all about. Yeah, Omar saying nice. Yes, TP. Gwen, I set my TP way lower. I think I mentioned it a little bit earlier. We could go down to that 33 flat mark, so 33,000 is where we could end up seeing this go, and so that's kind of where I'm heading at the moment. But yeah, Trump came out and did his thing. Guys, if you're learning something, if you're enjoying live broadcast, please let us know. We'd love to know what you think about it. Is it something that is beneficial to you? Is it something that you can use? Is it something that you enjoy? We would love to know your thoughts. That is what it is all about. We thrive off of your feedback, because your feedback means we're heading in the right trajectory and we are pushing ourselves all along. Okay, beautiful stuff. Naeem saying proper analysis. This we try. That's what it's all about. We're never perfect, but we're just making sure we are doing our thing. Rachua saying, see you all later for Tesla. Amen, my brother. We'll see you a little bit later. Have yourself a good afternoon. So I think that is where I'm super happy to end it. Heavenly Defendant saying 33 flat. It's a monster TP, I know. But again, we have to look at the structure of the markets. If this level breaks, which it looks like it wants to and is going to, just have a look here really quickly. Right, so I'll go back to an hourly time frame. If we break this level, right, which is what we're currently busy breaking, what is left to stop the price of US 30? We don't have any substantial support anywhere on the south side or south of this current position. So yes, this could trend towards that 33 flat mark, towards the downside, and that is ideally where we want to go. Again, that's another 4,000 pips towards the downside, and that would be lovely. That would be beautiful, and that's what we want to start to do. We want to start to hold more of these high volatility swing trades. That's what it's all about. So let's see, we've poked the bear, we've gone through that support area, we're doing a slight little bit of a retest here. Let's see if we can make new lows. That's going to be the big key. Can we break this up? Can we make new lows? There we go. We're making a new low right now. That's what it's all about. We can bring out Trump one last time because it means the strategy is successful, and we can continue to deploy this in other ways and really print some serious money. We're currently running about 1,300, 1,400 pips in profit right now. If you caught that earlier sell with me a little bit earlier, 1,300, 1,400 pips. If you caught the where can we set the next sell stop? I wouldn't layer the sell stops. I'd want to get in early, have a good trailing stop, and just simply set it there. I wouldn't layer these orders. Remember, guys, we're going to do this every single day. So if we see a continuation